All right, fellow fans of fun stuff, let's get into some of the things that were announced today at WWDC. This was a big event that Apple put on, and of course the idea here is to encourage developers to get behind some of the new hardware and develop apps and cool things for all of the stuff that they announced. They announced a new Mac Pro, they're beefing up the Mac Studio, there's a 15-inch MacBook Air, they added some new abilities to iOS 17 and iPad OS, all of that stuff you could predict at WWDC, sort of extending the functionality of products that people already have, and also to get people coveting some products that make sense in the Apple lineup. And I did dig that we can make stickers out of our pictures and have them animated and all that stuff in our iMessages and a bunch of other apps. There were a lot of cool things announced at WWDC, but the biggie, of course, was the Vision Pro headset, which Apple announced and dove right into all of the details on. It's an incredibly powerful machine. They're calling it spatial computing or facial computing that uses an M2 processor in it, which is part of their Apple Silicon line. And it's got a whole other processor engineered to just deal with all of the cameras and sensors that are attached to this device. You will actually create a 3D model of yourself when you're having FaceTime calls. And so you won't look like you're wearing the headset. It'll look like a 3D version of you when you're chatting with everybody. They showed people playing giant screen movies. Disney showed off a little bit of what it might be like to watch sports and some of their Star Wars stuff and some of their Marvel stuff through Vision Pro. And then after all of the tech was discussed and all of the options and opportunities were kind of profiled and touched on, not enough on games, by the way, they dropped the price tag and its availability. It's going to be out next year, which is something a little bit strange for Apple. Usually they announce something and it's within a couple of months you're going to be able to have it, and you'll be able to purchase it or pre-order it usually on the day or in a couple of days. This one, they're obviously taking their time to dole it out around the world. It's going to be $3,500 US. Obviously, the internet went crazy with that. I actually tweeted that the $3,500 USD was trending in Canada, and I thought that was pretty funny. Got some responses there. But we also got some cool insights from various people about the Vision Pro. I'll share some of those with you right now. Sarah Dishi, who was at the Worldwide Developer Conference event, said, "No killer app announced, but I think that's the point, announcing it at Worldwide Developer Conference 23. The developer who is also going to build it is probably here. Hashtag Vision Pro." Arun Maini, otherwise known as Mr. Who's the Boss, says everyone trying to get a good angle of the new Apple Vision Pro. Look at all those people trying to take pictures there. That's pretty cool. The fantastic Brian Tong says Apple Vision Pro, $34.99, available early next year. Next level tech, next level price. They also just changed the game. Wow. And this was a great observation by Ashley Esqueda, who says, "Sorry to upset everyone with an incredibly logical POV, but this is a $3,500 device for developers to buy and make shit with, so there is a fully functional Vision App Store when they launch the wireless mass market Vision Air in 5 years. It's not for us." And I think Ashley's absolutely correct. This is a software development kit / consumer product, and really what they want people to do is get those early adopters behind the concept, jumping into this, putting it on, and it has some incredibly cool technology. The fact that you can see your eyes, and it's about augmented reality as much as it is about VR, and the idea that you can watch big screen panoramic pictures and movies, and you can interact with things with just your fingers because there's so much incredible tech and all of these different sensors and little widgets involved with this hardware is very, very cool. That price tag, though, is automatically going to knock it out of the hands for most people. And obviously, I think everybody's got a point of view on this. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Did you like what Apple showed off with the Vision Pro? Can you see that it is the beginning of a new product category? Is there going to be enough interest in this to keep it going forward? I've only got a couple of complaints. That external battery pack is kind of a drag. It's an understandable one, but it's kind of a drag at this stage. But the lack of real focus on true next-generation games. If we're talking about technology that is going to be an onboard to incredible escapism and entertainment, video games have to come front and center, and Apple needs to stop sort of clowning with this. They need to stop sort of dipping around, and Apple Arcade's a cool subscription service, and of course they make billions of dollars on all the iOS games that are out there. They did have Hideo Kojima show up and talk about Death Stranding on Mac, which is cool, but they make so much money. They need to spend some money and get into games in a real way, especially on this Vision Pro headset, if they're going to get people to slowly convert to that, because nothing is going to be more engaging in VR or AR than awesome video games, and Apple's got a long way to go there. But let me know what you think. Now, a company that obviously gets that video games are a huge part of the future of VR and AR is Meta, or Oculus. I still prefer Oculus. They have got a new machine coming out this fall for $500 US. It is the Quest 3. The Quest 2 is an excellent VR option currently, although now that the Quest 3 has been announced, I would not, suggest that you go out and buy a Quest 2. Quest 3 is going to have better cameras and color pass-through, so you're going to have a much better augmented reality experience. There's better technology in it. It looks like it's going to be lighter and more comfortable on the head, and games are just going to get cooler and cooler. But the Oculus team also showed off in a brand new showcase a bunch of games that are going to be coming to the Quest 2 and Quest 3 later this year, and they talked about Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord, which looks pretty fun. Samba de Amigo is headed to VR from Sega, which looks like a blast. They're making a Bulletstorm VR game, which looks like a perfect fit for that insanity. There's a really cool looking robot fighting experience called Underdogs. There's an Attack on Titan game. Seventh Guest is making a move to VR, and Ubisoft is going to reveal a lot more about the new Assassin's Creed Nexus VR experience at their showcase next week, so we're going to know more about that. And I think the biggest reveal is Asgard's Wrath 2 is headed to the Quest platform, and holy crap, that Asgard's Wrath 1 game was absolutely mind-blowing. Incredible tech, a great conversion of ideas and functionality and mechanics. You really got that sense of immersion. That team has been able to just iterate and work with this kind of technology, and obviously it will take advantage of the Quest 3 tech. So I can't wait to play Asgard's Wrath 2, and I am excited to see where these next sort of iterations of video games for VR start to come into play. Not just for Quest 3, but hopefully for PlayStation VR 2 as well. There are a lot of really talented devs out there, and it's just shocking to me that Apple didn't have that component as part of their Vision Pro showcase today. But yes, I'm super excited about the Quest 3. Let me know what your thoughts are. I know that Oculus has been going through a lot of shakeups. There's been a lot of layoffs and companies like Ready at Dawn having to go through some major changes and losing lots of incredible people. And Meta has been shifting around from the metaverse, and now they're getting into AI a little bit more. But clearly, they are still investing heavily into games. I'm excited, man. I think that Meta team, that Quest team, has got a lot of cool things up their sleeve and a lot of things to be stoked for. Also in the news today is the unbelievable success of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's an amazing film. If you haven't checked out my review, which I reviewed with my daughter Ruby, please do. I had so much fun at that film, but box office-wise, it's doing gangbusters. It's already at $120 million in North America and at $208 million worldwide, which is really getting close to the total box office of about $384 million for Into the Spider-Verse. And clearly what happened is Into the Spider-Verse hit streaming platforms, I think specifically Netflix, and millions of people watched the movie and saw how Into the Spider-Verse was just a phenomenon. It won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature that year. It's an incredible film, and it really tees up this whole new universe, clearly a Spider-Verse. But Across the Spider-Verse carries the baton in a wonderful way, and now Beyond the Spider-Verse is probably going to be even bigger than these previous two movies. And it's going to, I think, kickstart a whole bunch more of animation that is going to borrow from these ideas, animation that skews more for adult fans out there, which I'm super happy for. And also, there's going to be a live-action Miles Morales film, which Amy Pascal, who sort of oversees the Spider universe for Sony, has already confirmed. So we, as Spider-Man fans, are sitting pretty right now. We've got lots and lots to look forward to. And congratulations to the whole Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse team. You did it. It's an amazing movie. Let me know what you thought of the film in the comments below, but that's great news to hear. And finally, I've got one last thing. Our friends over at New Wave Toys, makers of the Replicade arcade cabinets, which I have a little mini arcade collection happening behind us, sent me out a Space Ace machine, and this is incredibly cool. This is the sort of the custom created Space Ace machine. There's a conversion kit where arcade operators can convert Dragon's Lair machines to Space Ace. So there's two different options that people can buy as part of their collection, and these are meant to display like I do on my set back here, and they're just a nice visual pop no matter where you're going to place them, but they're also playable. And one of the things that the Replicade team has been doing is they have an HDMI port on the back of these devices, and you can plug them in. I was actually able to stream some Space Ace, got my butt kicked because this game is incredibly hard. It's one of those QuickTime event games where it uses Don Bluth animation. Don Bluth was a Disney animator, and he saw the opportunities to create hand-drawn animation for video games. Massive success with Dragon's Lair. It was also a Laserdisc game, and one of the cool things is that this actually comes with a tiny little Laserdisc in the back right there. And the Laserdisc player also has a tiny little actual Laserdisc. It doesn't play, but it's all to scale and a perfect replica. The screen is a nice 4x3 display screen. The audio coming out of the machine is terrific. It's got all kinds of external information about how you're doing in the game or how poorly you're doing in the game because it's tough. You can press the button and get into the menu of the device as well, so you can change the audio output. You can set it to unlimited lives, which is what I did on my stream, so we could see a little bit of the game, and it's just an incredible collectible. These guys make beautiful little cabinets, but do yourself a favor, if this thing looks cool, do a Google and check out some of the other options that they have. I'm a particularly huge fan of the Missile Command cabinet that they sent me before. Thank you, New Wave Toys, for shipping me out a Space Ace to add to my collection. It's going to live right back there. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for the rundown. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back soon with some movie reviews and some new video game reviews. We'll see you soon, and until then, play forever.